Fucking hell. Hell! Hell! Oh, for God's sake. Hell! Oh, fuck. Hell! Hello, everyone. Fucking hell, it's going. It's going. Right. We all knew this day was going to come as soon as Plugin Alliance released the new AMEK console. The last time I did Acoustica versus Plugin Alliance, it ended very nasty and there was a lot of plugin politics involved. Okay, but either way, I've got to do it because I'm Paul Third and this is what I do. So today, I have got the new Plugin Alliance AMEK 99 console. I'm going to be comparing that versus the only other AMEK console plugin that I know, and that is the Amethyst from Acoustica Audio. Convolution versus algorithmic plugins. All curves completely level matched, compression matched, everything matched as close as physically possible. Solo and all together in the context of a mix. It's going to be a good one. Roll that VT. Now, long story short, right? This is a new BX console, right, from brainworx. You can get it in your Plugin Alliance subscription bundle. It is a beta plugin. I read a post that Dirk put up on the Plugin Alliance Facebook page, and I'm pretty sure there was mention of a beta in there. So it's not the full finished article yet, okay? From what I know, that's why you can't buy it just now. It's only available for the plugin subscription members, which is me, because I have a plugin subscription. But you can demo it as well, but you can't buy it. Okay, and for all those asking, Paul, is it the exact same as the BX 9098 EQ? Yes, I have put the curves into Plugin Doctor. All settings matched perfectly, and as you can see, it is 100% perfect. Even in the phase, again, look, the phase is 100% perfect. This is the exact same EQ, and they've put this into this console. That is not, the EQs are not different, okay? The exact same EQ, but they've put it into a console plugin. Now, what does this console plugin add to the 98 EQ? Well, you've got a gate that you didn't have before, you've got a dynamic section, you've got soft clipping, you have the gate also has like a high pass and low pass filter, because the EQ has TMT, it has the mono maker, and it has the stereo spread as well, okay? So it's basically the exact same EQ with just a few add-ons, okay? So what I'm going to do is in Plugin Doctor, I'm going to show you the curves that I've used somewhere so you can actually see, so they correlate to the settings that are on the screen, okay? So these are the side-by-sides, level match to integrated LUFS. The compressor settings are matched. The only difference in the compressors are there's a high-pass filter in the brainworx, which is quite nice, and you've got the schmod in the Acoustica, which changes the attack envelope. Now, with all that talking out the way, let's go to the side-by-sides. Now, just for very, very quick reference, I mixed with the brainworx first, okay? Set everything at maybe like an hour or two, just kind of playing about with it, getting the best settings. And then from there, all I done is I went into Plugin Doctor, went into Amethyst, and then compared that to the same settings of the brainworx, and then compared them as close as I can. So here is drums, kick, snare, overheads. Are there any differences? Let's find out. Right, okay. Now, obviously, I knew how this thing sounds. Now, what I can tell you, now you've heard the drums, okay, there is way more to come. There's also bass, guitar, vocals, horns, and an electric guitar solo as well. But if we just kind of speak about the drums very, very quick, okay? In terms of the kind of soloed sounds, and you will get to hear them all in the context of a mix, built up and compared, level matched as well. Now, what you can hopefully hear is that the Acoustica has more transients, and it's coming out at you just a little bit more, okay? And I'm going to kind of tell you why that is a little bit later on, okay? There is a reason why, and I've kind of figured that out. Now, as you can hear, the AMEK, as I told you, it was very, very clean. I told you earlier on, it was a very, very, very clean suite, and the EQs are very, very clean. Now, the thing about the AMEK is that, to me, it is super, super, super transparent, okay? Very, very, very transparent. The compression's super transparent as well. And I just kind of want to mention very quickly something that's really, really fucking annoyed me is, see YouTubers, right? I'm plugin manufacturers. I get it why plugin manufacturers do it. I get it. But why do YouTubers not fucking level match on YouTube? What is that all about? I have watched 5 different AMEK reviews and every one of them didn't level match. Every time they went to the AMEK, it was louder. I could actually see because I've got the plugin on the screen. They're not attenuating the output down. It's obvious, right? If you're going to do like reviews, if you're going to show like the dry versus the plugin, then fucking level match it, because we perceive loudness. Anytime we hear something that's louder, we perceive it to be better. Plugin Alliance done a video where it was on drums, and it's way, way louder. But look, that's what all plugin manufacturers do. They always make their plugins louder, right? Because that's how you sell the plugin. If they were to put the drums that I've got here, right, and show you how subtle it is, would as many people be like, that sounds interesting? Now, this kind of gets into a conversation of transparency. Not everybody wants colour. Not everybody wants, like, the source to be completely changed. What you can hear is that it's very, very true to the source, where the Amethyst has a little bit more punch, because, again, I can dial in the schmod. And one thing I will say that I quite like is the shine, or whatever, I forget what it's called, I've not got it in front of me. In the high end, there's like a button where it's like, it's got like shine or shimmer or whatever it's called. That's really, really, really nice. If you use it in conjunction with the low pass filters, what it does is it allows you to boost the shelf, but it's got a really nice kind of roll off. So you can kind of get a lot of nice highs, but really nice smooth highs. And to me, in the overheads, the cymbals just are really kind of nice and kind of open and come out of you a little bit more. The high end is very, very nice, and the AMEK plugin's very, very nice. So we've done the drums, okay? In my opinion, you can hear the transparency of both. The EQs are very transparent in both, but the compression is, in terms of the transients, is coming out a little bit more in the Acoustica, where the brainworx AMEK is very, very close to the source and very, very subtle and very, very transparent, okay? So this is bass, electric guitar, and the horns side by side. Let's do it. Now, once again, the EQs are, again, they're matched, they're as close as possible. In the bass, it was a little bit annoying because what I forgot when I did this first, I did it in separate days, is that EQA in the Acoustica can go to 12 dB, but EQB can only go to 9 dB. So but what I did was I left the AMEK a little bit brighter just to show you the transparency of it. Now, again, I've got like maybe an extra dB of high end in the Amek bass because I thought I needed it in the mix. But even still, it's not something that's really grabbing your attention as much. It shows you how clean and transparent the Amek is. It's not got a vibe to it. There's no vibe, okay? It's very, very clean and very, very subtle. In terms of the Acoustica, again, I'm feeling it's coming out of you a little bit more. The electric guitar solo was interesting because I actually used the clip function here and used the limiter. So what you can do is if you have the clip on, the limiter on, and you start dialing in like some limiting and some compression, again, you need to hit it quite hard. Honestly, you need to hit it quite hard, and you're limiting as much as 3 to 4 dB before you really start getting a lot of like harmonic distortion. And the issue that I've got with that is that, again, a limiter is basically a compression at like infinity ratio, right? So you've got to remember that it's great that you're getting this extra like grit and dirt from like the clipper section, you're getting more distortion, but because it's limiting and it's more compression, you're making it smaller, which is why the Acoustica comes out of you a little bit more. So what I was able to do in the Acoustica was I dialed the input, so I hit the input a lot harder to get more harmonic distortion. So I was able to dial in the input to get more saturation and more harmonics in there, but I wasn't really affecting the compression as much, and I still had the same ratio, okay? Again, there's a difference between compressing and limiting, okay? So whilst it's cool and it's a nice effect, the fact that you've got to limit to get that kind of distortion is a little bit off-putting to me. But in the end, it is entirely subjective, okay? You might prefer it. Again, exact same gain reduction on both plugins, it's just that one's compressing and one is limiting. To me, I could hear the difference, okay? The Acoustica comes out of you a little bit more. And then exact same in the horns, okay? The horns do the exact same, and there's a little bit more of a raspiness and a little bit more of warmth in the horns to me. Again, they're coming, it's it's coming out at you a little bit more, it's adding a little bit more depth, a little bit more excitement, where the brainworx, again, very transparent, very subtle, extremely, extremely transparent, which may be your thing, okay? I don't want you to think that I'm completely shitting on this, because a lot of people like transparent EQs and transparent compression. And I'm just going to say it now, there's nothing wrong with transparent EQ and transparent compression. There's times when you do not want to add colour and you want to stay true to the source and just EQ and just compress. Okay, so that's those three. And again, I can feel in solo that, again, it's just more depth, it's just coming out of you a little bit more, where the Amek brainworx is, again, it's transparent, very subtle, true to the source. So that is bass, horns, and electric guitar solo, okay? Now, lastly, let's do the piano, which is kind of the main focal point of the song, bar the vocal. That's panned completely left and right, 100%. And then I've got the main vocal and I've got the backing vocals as well. So, side by side, lead vocal, backing vocals, and piano. Let's do it.
Won't you pass them by? 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 Sail, baby. Sail, baby. Sail, baby. Sail, baby.
Okay, now, piano. Piano's very, very interesting for me. And this is something that the PA, the brainworx, actually has in its armory, is the stereo width. I stuck the stereo width of the piano to 110. And to me, what I found was that it was just enough width, that extra bit of width, just to make it kind of stand. You'll hear it in the mix, it sounds a little bit better, it kind of hugs you a little bit more in the mix. And that's something that the Acoustica doesn't have, so you can add a little bit more width with the stereo width in the BX. But again, I feel that for me, it's the compression again. It's I think the compression with the Amethyst, all these names, the Amethyst in the piano sounds a little bit more natural to me, especially in the highs. Again, they're all matched as close as physically possible. You can see it's nearly identical, but there's something that's more natural to me. I don't know if it is that stereo width as well. And again, I've got the mono maker in the brainworx as well, again, just to kind of solidify that low end, make it a little bit more mono. But even still, I feel like the low end of the piano is just, it's there. It's got this, to me, the brainworx does kind of that, where Acoustica does that. More feel. I'm getting more feel. It's more natural to me. It's more natural sounding to me in the Acoustica. And then in terms of the backing vocals, I really, really do prefer the Acoustica here. And again, it's the compression. The backing vocals, again, just come out of you a little bit more. They're set the exact same way. It's the exact same gain reduction, exact same attack and release settings. It's the schmod. I'm just using the schmod a lot of the time to give me a little bit more transient. Again, make it poke out a little bit more, level out a little bit more. It's just a little bit more exciting. Again, EQ-wise, they're nearly identical, but it's just giving me a little bit more feel. And in terms of the lead vocal, there is no compression. It's the only one that I've not got compression on, because I did compression last week with the 1176 and the LA2A trick, where I compared UAD, free analog obsession, plus genuine 1176 and LA2As from Access Analog, and mix analog. Put a link down below and up here as well. So I didn't need to compress the vocals this time. In my opinion, the lead vocal is probably the most closest. And why? Because there's no compression. Now, this finally brings me on. I know I've kept on saying I was going to come to it. This finally brings me on to the compression. And the reason why the Acoustica comes out at you a little bit more as just a little bit more attack, a little bit more beef. Okay? Now, the reason that is harmonics. The problem is with this compressor and actually most of the compression in harmonics and BX consoles is the THD. Now obviously when you're hitting the THD, you'll notice it in all the settings, right? I didn't keep it flat. I hit the THD where possible to give me a little bit more harmonics. The issue is it's extremely, extremely clean. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the difference in compression in terms of harmonics, okay? Now what I'm going to show you is the Amethyst and plug-in Doctor, right? I'm going to show you the harmonics that are brought in by the compressor, okay? Now, this is at 1K, okay? Now, have a look. Even at like 1 dB of gain reduction, right? 1 to 2 dB gain reduction, you're getting a lot of harmonics being brought in by the compressor. Now, that's going to have an impact, but the biggest impact, the reason why that each source seems to have a little bit more weight and why it's going to have a little bit more weight in the mix, which I'm going to show you very soon, is this, right? Look at the low end. Look at, again, this is at like 50 hertz, right? Look at the low-end harmonics that are made as low as like 1 dB compression, okay? 1, 2, 3 dB of compression, you're going to find that it's giving you more low-end harmonics, it's giving it more low-end weight. Where if we go into the Amek, you can see it's extremely clean. At 1K, extremely, extremely, extremely clean. You need to hit it extremely hard just to get a little bit more saturation out of it. And then let's have a look at 50 hertz, okay? The low-end harmonics that are made by the compressor. It's all fucking noise. Look at the state of it. It's all noise, okay? Is it underneath the noise floor, right? Are you going to hear it? Probably not. It is very, very, very low. But the problem is, so is the harmonics. And even if the harmonics are there, they're just being clouded by the amount of noise that's in there. Okay, so again, there's not as much harmonic. There's nowhere near as much harmonics on the low end, okay? Which is the reason why when you're compressing with the Acoustica Amethyst, you're getting more character, you're getting more thump, you're getting a little bit more of that coming in, because it's bringing in harmonics, because it's not transparent, it's colour. That could be the added benefit of colour. And look, that's the reasons why. It's the compressor. It must be the compressor. If I'm matching the EQ curves as close as physically possible, it must be the compression. It must be. I can see the difference in harmonics, but you might be sitting there thinking, I heard it in solo. I don't know what you're speaking about, Paul. So let's hear it versus the dry. This is a short piece. I'll show you the full song at the very end, okay? Now this is, again, completely level matched in like the chorus section. So we're going to have the dry, we're going to have the brainworx, and we're going to have Amethyst. Now listen to the differences in the chorus of the dry versus the brainworx and the Amethyst.
No evils or gods will hide, baby. No evils or gods will hide, baby. No evils or gods will hide, baby. No evils or gods will hide, baby.
Right, okay, so in terms of the chorus section, I think what I can hear, and hopefully what you can hear, is that everything that we heard in solo is kind of manifested in the entire mix. What I can say is that the piano is really, really nice, and see that kind of extra width that the stereo width gave that piano, it just gives it an edge. It just adds a little bit more width and kind of hugs you a little bit. But it's missing the compressor, it's the compression. It's missing that kind of attack, it's missing that excitement and that kind of low-end thump that the Acoustica adds. You can hear it in the snare, okay? The snare's got way less transients. Overall, it's got less transients. So this is as in-depth as I could physically go. This took me ages. This has took me close to 2.5 days to play about with the AMEK, get the best settings as possible, treat it like a real mix, okay? And there was no EQ on this before, it was just like all the stuff I've done before. There's a playlist, so if you want to see how we got to this point, to the dry, there is a playlist that details all the videos that we've done so far. This is genuinely the best that I could do for you, okay? It's as close as I can physically get, okay? The differences in harmonics, I can't control that, okay? I can just set the compressors the same way. Please, guys, in the comments, right, before I show you the final, full mix, okay, and it's just going to be brainworx and Acoustica side by side in the full mix, I just want to ensure, guys, that we do not bring plugin politics into this, okay? This is us, okay? Take Plugin Alliance, take Acoustica out of it, okay? In the end, the brainworx is in a beta stage, okay? If I'm right, it's in beta stage, okay? They can fix, in my opinion, they need to fix the compressor if it's going to sound better than Amethyst. Maybe Dirk has just made a decision where he's went, know what, I just want to give the Plugin Alliance guys a fully transparent channel strip. He's given you loads and loads and loads of different options. Versus the dry, it is very, very, very subtle in terms of side-by-sides. In the mix, obviously, there's a difference, okay? I'm EQing and I'm compressing. Utilising the EQs, they sound very, very similar. There's slight differences, but it's the compression. That's where the main differences are. Maybe Plugin Alliance want it to be as transparent as that, and that is completely fine, and if that's what that's going to be, then know what? Tip my hat off to you. It is probably one of the best transparent channel strips that I've heard. It's really true to the source. Compression is really transparent. The EQs are really transparent. It's a nice sounding plugin. I like character, I like vibe, I like a little bit of 3D depth. It's the way I am. So I prefer Amethyst. And I don't want people to get on the fucking hate train here and be like,
Paul Ford again, Acoustica again, oh, Acoustica again.
It's just preferences. It's just preferences. I've done it as fair as physically possible, okay? So please, no arguing in the comments. This isn't about Plugin Alliance and Acoustica. It's about sound. It's about which console and which plugin is right for you, and whether you should buy Amethyst, whether you should invest in the brainworx AMEK console. Is it worth it? Is there better options out there? And that's what I will be comparing next week, because I'm going to be doing a Neve 80 series console shootout, because the Blackbird plugin came out and everybody's wanting me to try it out. So we're going to have Lindell 80 channel, we're going to have the Need, the Noise Ash Need, the 33102, and we're also going to have the new Blackbird Neve plugin as well. And comparing that versus the Amethyst, which is my preference. Again, this is going to be a mix. I'm going to be finishing very soon, then I go which one I like the best. So that's going to be next week, and we'll compare it, because this channel is all about trying to give you a fair platform, okay, to make your own decisions, okay? There is no wrong or right answers. And with saying that, guys, if you've liked this video, please like this video. If you've not subscribed, please consider subscribing or joining so you can get behind Mix on Wednesdays. And I'll see you again next week.